All right, today everybody, we're going to be talking about the greatest common factor. So this is going to be a different type of factoring than what we were doing with the x, but it's still going to be very much the same. So when we come over here and we see this problem, this is what we're thinking to ourselves. We want to know what number can we divide out of each? So we got to look at these two numbers. There's kind of two things going on here. There's this and this. And we want to know what's the biggest thing I can divide out of each. Now, when we do this, we want to first start by just looking at the numbers, and then we'll look at the variables in a minute. So right away, I notice that 2 and 8, I know that 2 divides into 2, and 2 also divides into 8. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide 2 out of each of those. So I'm going to pull a 2 out. Now, if I pull 2 out of 2, right, what we're doing is we're dividing. So if I came over here and I tried that, 2 divided by 2 divided by 2 would leave me with just 1. So I'm going to get a 1 right here. Now I also have a plus 8 going on over here. So if I take 8, right, we're dividing 2 out, divided by 2, that would leave us with just 4. Now the other piece we want to notice is we want to look at the actual variables as well. So in this situation, this one has 4 v's, and this one only has 1 v. So what we want to do is we want to be able to pull out as many v's as possible, but we have to be able to pull out that many v's from each of them. So we're only going to be able to pull out as many v's as the one that has the fewest. So this one is the one that has the fewest because there's only one, so we're going to be able to pull out 1 v. Now we got to still think about this. In this first one, we started with 4 v's. If we pull out 1 v, then we're going to have 3 v's left. In the second one, we started with 1 v and we pulled out 1 v, so we don't have any v's left, which is why we're not going to put anything in that spot. This is what we call pulling out or factoring out a greatest common factor. This is the greatest common factor. It's the biggest thing that we can divide out of each of the expressions that we have. Let's take a look at another problem. These get easier as we go. So here's another one. So in this situation, we need to first look at it and say, what's the biggest number that can divide into each of these? And hopefully without too much work, you can come up with the idea that 3 goes into both of those. 3 goes into 15, right? So I'm going to be able to pull out a 3. Now, let's also look at the variables for a second. This one has 2 a's, and this one has 1 a. Remember, as long as they both have a's, you're going to be able to pull out some a's. But you can only take out as many as the one with the fewest. The fewest in this situation is the 1a. So we're going to be able to pull out 1a. Now, once you figure out what your greatest common factor is, that's the biggest thing you can divide out, then you want to draw two parentheses with a fairly large space in between. Now, to get our number, what we're going to do is we're going to take 15 divided by 3, and that's going to give us the number that should go right here. So on my calculator, 15 divided by 3 gives us 5. So I'm going to put a 5 right there. Now, I started up here with 2 a's, and I pulled out 1a. That means I'm left here with 1a. So I still got to have 1a left in that spot. Now for the next part, what we're going to do is we're going to take negative 12 divided by 3, and that's going to give us our next number there. So negative 12 divided by 3 gives us negative 4. So what we're going to say is we're going to say minus 4, right? Negative and minus are the same thing. This one started out with 1a, and we pulled out 1a, so we don't have any a's left. So this will be my final answer. Let's write it a little bit nicer. 3a times 5a minus 4. This will be my answer. Let's look at another one. 12 and 20. Now we got to think, what's the biggest thing we can divide into each of those? And initially I think to myself, well, I know 2 goes into both of those two numbers, and you're right, but there's a bigger number that goes into both. The bigger number that goes into both is actually 4. So I'm going to be able to pull a 4 out, or divide 4 out. Now, in this situation, both of these have an m again. So you're going to be able to take out as many m's as the one that has the fewest. The fewest is this one. So I'm going to be able to pull out 1m. Now let's get our numbers. 12 divided by 4 gives us 3. So I'm going to have a 3 right here. This one started out with 2 m's. We pulled out 1m, which means we must have 1m left. And then if I take 20 divided by 4, that's going to give me 5. And that's a positive 5, so I'm going to say plus 5. Now this one started out with 1m, and we pulled out 1m, so we don't have any m's left. So we don't need to put any m's there. Which will make this my final answer. Right? I told you, this will get a little bit easier the more we practice. Let's do another one. Number 4. Now, in this one, we got to start by looking at the numbers. What number goes into both of those? 2. So that means I'm going to be able to divide out a 2. Now, each of these has a k. So I'm going to be able to pull out a k as well. Remember, I can only pull out as many variables as the one that has the smallest number. So 1 is smaller than 3, so I'm going to be able to pull out 1. Now, to get our number, we take 2 divided by 2, which gives us 1, so we're going to get a 1 right there. This one started out with 3 k's, and we pulled out 1 k. Well, if I started with 3 and I lost 1, that means I will still have 2 that are right there. Negative 4 divided by 2 would give us a negative 2. So we're going to have a minus 2 here. Now, in this one, we started out with 1k, and we pulled out 1k. So we don't have any k's left because they're all gone. So this will be my final answer. Let's look at another one. Number 5. Oh, this one's kind of unique. So in this situation, what number can I pull out of 3 and 3? Well, I can divide a 3 out of each of those. Now, do you notice how this one has an n, but this term does not have an n? Since they both don't have one, you're not going to be able to pull out any. So I'm going to have a 3 on the outside, and that's it. So if I take 3 divided by 3, that's going to give us 1. Now, if you notice, this one started with 1n, and we weren't able to pull out any n's. So it still has to have that 1 n sitting right there. Negative 3 divided by 3 gives us a minus 1, and we're done. Nice job. Here's another one. What number goes into 3 and 6? 3 does. So I'm going to be able to divide out 3. Now, if you pull out a 3, let's look. Notice how they both have k's. Since they both have k's, we're going to be able to pull a k out. We can only take as many as the one that has the smallest amount. So that was this one because there was only 1 there. So we're going to be able to pull out 1k. Now if I take 3 divided by 3, I get 1. This one started out with 3 k's and I pulled out 1, so I have 2 k's that are left right here. And then if I take 6 divided by 3, I get 2. And it's positive 2, so I'm going to say plus 2. Now this one started out with 1k, and we pulled out 1k, so we don't have any k's left, which will make this our final answer. I think we got 2 more problems, then we're going to be on to homework. Looking at problem number 7. What number goes into 6 and 8? Well, the number that divides into both is 2. So, if I take 6 divided by 2, right, because I'm going to pull out a 2, I would be left with 3. Now, we should also think about variables here. If you look at your variables, notice how this one has a b and this one doesn't have a b. If they both don't have it, we can't pull any out. So we're not going to be able to pull out any variables, so we're only going to get the 2 on the outside. Now, when we think about it, this term started with a b and we didn't lose any b's, so it's still going to have that b sitting right there. Now, if I take 8 divided by 2, that's going to leave me with 4, and 4 is positive, so I'm going to say plus 4. And that one didn't have any b's, so we don't even need to think about it. Nice job. Let's do our last one. Here it is. So, looking at this problem, what's the biggest number that divides into 2 and 4? And of course, you say that that is 2. Now, this one has x's and this one has x's. So we're going to be able to pull out as many x's as the one that has the fewest. Since 1 is smaller than 3, we can pull out 1x. Now if I take 2 divided by 2, I get 1. This one started out with 3 x's and we lost 1, so I'm going to still have 2 left. And then if I take 4 divided by 2, I get 2. So it's positive, so I'm going to say plus 2. This one started out with 1x and we lost 1x, so we don't have any x's left, which will make this our final answer. Thank you guys so much for watching the full video. Your homework's going to look very similar to this. I think it'll be only 8 problems total. If you're having any troubles with this, don't be afraid to reach out and ask. Thanks, guys. Have a nice day.